Now, occasionally I have to jump on my private account. The business account does take pretty much 90% of the time, but I do sell a few items that are mine that I don't want connected with my business because I don't want to have to explain to the accountant. They're my stuff. I want to sell them. I'm going to sell them myself on my own private account. If you're a private seller in the UK, how are you dealing with prospective buyers when it comes to the eBay buyer protection fee? And especially when they start negotiating or talk about offers. That's what I'm going to get into over the next 5 minutes. The experience that I've had dealing with a prospective buyer and the confusion that buyer protection fee led to some awkward conversations. So, setting the scene on my private account, some of my old computer games that I'd had, I put two lots up. One was up for 24.99, and the other one was up for 12.99. And they were both the same format for an old Commodore format. One had two specific cartridges in, the other one had five games in them. So a buyer contacts me and says, would I accept £20 for the one and £10 for the other? And could I combine postage? Now, they could have, because they wanted to do an offer and buy a protection fee and the combining the postage, I said, no problem. What I will do is I will create a new auction for you, combine them the two together and put it up as a customer request. And no problem, I'm quite happy to accept £20 and £10 for them. So it was a £5 discount, and they're only going to have to pay one lot of postage. Brilliant. So it was around about 10 o'clock at night when those messages came in. So I quickly jumped onto the computer and set that auction up, copied a link to it, ended the other two, and sent it over to the prospective buyer, all thinking it was absolutely wonderful and no problem whatsoever. And a lot of you have probably worked it out already, but this is where it got interesting. Woke up this morning, another message, and it said, that's not the price that we agreed. I've just come to buy it, and it is £35.48, and I only wanted to pay £33.35, or within a few pence of those. And I went, oh. So I sent back and says, well, you offered me £20 for this and you offered me £10 for this. So I've changed the listing, combined them, and I have listed it at £30 and sent that response back to the prospective buyer. So in this situation, what would you do? Leave your comments below on what you would do in this situation. Would you walk away from any potential deal? Would you carry on? Or would you discuss the whole mechanism about how the figure is, how it's materialised and how that's the buyer protection fee that is now part of you as a buyer giving eBay a slice of the money? So I responded back to the potential buyer and says, well, in fact, you've offered me £18.75 for the one and £9.35 for the others. Is that the figure that you wanted to offer for the items? Now, this is a little bit unfair, both on me and the buyer, because this new buyer protection fee, and it is relatively new in the age span of eBay, and if someone's been buying off eBay for the last decade, they think when they make an offer, or they think the amount of money that they see is going to the seller. It's obviously not, and have eBay not done enough to educate buyers in the new eBay era that that buyer protection fee does not go to the seller and it goes to the platform. The platform needs to be fed. I understand that. It's basic economics. If you're not taking a seller's fee off someone for selling something, somebody has got to pay and give the platform a fee. Educating buyers so that they didn't end up in this conversation with me where I may have been perceived as I'm trying to rip him off by adding £2 or something extra on the price that he didn't agree with, is quite a difficult conversation to have. I subsequently said, that's the buyer protection fee. The money that you have been told to pay, £35, I will only see £30 of it. The postage money doesn't come to me, and the buyer protection fee doesn't come to me. At this point, the conversation came back was pretty much like, well, I only wanted to pay £33. So I got two choices. Either say, that's what I'm accepting, or lower the price of the items that I was selling so that I absorbed the buyer protection fee. At this point, anybody who does know me knows what I did. Yeah, I took the money. Thank you very much. Games are all packed up, postage label on, and it's got a wonderful YA man postal code that the post office aren't accepting. But hopefully by Monday, when Royal Mail come to pick up all the business post, I can just put that on top, and they will whisk it away in their little red van. But do you find yourself in this situation? Do you find that buyers now think that because you as a seller don't actually have to pay any seller's fees anymore, that they can get their buyer protection fee back from you? Or have they not realised that maybe we've already started to lower those prices because we don't have to pay the fees anymore? And if we then try and absorb the buyer protection fee, in certain circumstances, the profit, or even if you're selling something yourself, to actually go and buy something else. I don't know, you're selling 3 pairs of trainers that you've had for a while because you want to go and buy a new pair of trainers. So the new ones are £60. So you're selling 3 old pairs for £20 each, so you can go and buy yourself, investing to buy a new pair. All this economics, is it the current economical climate that we find ourselves in, that nobody's got any money and only necessities are being bought, and everybody wants to buy something as cheap as possible, and it is a race from a buyer's perspective to get that price right down to rock bottom? And as a seller, do we feel that sometimes we're having to sell at rock bottom? Otherwise, it's better to take something than look at it in the wardrobe, or look at it on top of the wardrobe, or as a business seller, look at it on your stock shelves and it just stare at you because it's worth nothing. It doesn't matter what value you put on something. If you haven't sold it and you haven't physically got the money in your hand, it's worth nothing. It has a zero value. All these items behind me, they are up available on our business account, but they, in my head, they're not worth anything. They're only worth something when somebody gives me the money for them. And that is where we're in this difficult situation, some of us. What are your thoughts on this? Is it just the way that the world works now, the way that buying and selling in a second-hand marketplace has that's how it's become now? And it's nothing to do with eBay, and it's nothing to do with any of the platforms, and they're just evolving, and dinosaurs like me aren't evolving with it. Leave your comments as always, and if you would like to hit the like, thumbs up button, I keep reading these improve your YouTube videos, but I forget to say it. I don't think I've asked anybody to subscribe or hit the like button or share in any of my last God knows how many videos. So, but anyway, thanks again for everybody that puts up with me, and I'll see you in the next video.